All right. This idea of percentile does not exactly fit in what we are talking about, our motivation for measure of variability or measure of distribution. But it's kind of fits. It's something, more importantly, it's very widely used in the public media and statistics. Whenever people quote statistics, people like to use percentile quite a bit. It's like, I'm 95th percentile of something, or I'm 50th percentile of something. People use this quite often, and it's vaguely related to this idea of distribution. Now let me explain how. So when people say, I'm 95th percentile on something, what people are really saying is, if there was a data set of everybody doing that thing, somebody scored 100, another person has scored 110, blah blah blah, all these numbers, you arrange all these numbers in ascending order. Being in a 95th percentile means 95% of the values are left of this value. If this value x is at the 95th percentile, 95th percent of values are left of it, and only 5% are right of it. When somebody says this thing is 50th percentile, what they are really saying is 50% of the values are left of it and 50% are right of it. That's a ring a bell. That is exactly the definition of the mode. So mode is at the 50th percentile. Okay? All right, let's try to learn how to calculate this percentile. So suppose you have these 5 values. Let's just make example a little easier. Suppose the numbers are 2, 7, 9, 11, and 15. Okay, this is how it works. Suppose I want to calculate the 30th percentile. So what I'm saying is I want to order all the values in an ascending order. So I already did that, 2 through 11. So what is that value such that 30% are left of it and 70% are right of it? How do we find it? So what we do is we first calculate what we call K. K is n plus 1. N is the number of data points, so in this case 5, times the percentile you are calculating. So 30 percentile. Okay? So n equals to 5. 5 plus 1 is 6 times 0.3 comes out to be 1.8. What 1.8 is telling us is the 1.8th number is your 30th percentile. But there's a problem. We don't have a 1.8th number. Right? What is a 1.8th number? I mean, this is the first number, this is the second number. So this is the first number, this is the second number, this is the third number, this is the fourth number, this is the fifth number. What is the 1.8th number? I don't know, right? All I know it's in between somewhere here and here. How do you explain? How do you mathematically put that? So mathematically the idea is your 1.8 is somewhere in between your second value and your first value. So it is somewhere in between. So you calculate this difference of second value and the first value, that is 5. Okay. Now what you do is, after you have this gap, this 5 gap calculated, what you should do is we have to extrapolate this 5 such that we have the 80% of it, because we know the first value is 2. What we don't know is what is this 0.8. Okay, so you do 5 times 0.8, which comes out to be 4. That means your 30th percentile is this 2, because you already have 1, right, the first value of 1, and this 80% of this gap, that is 4. That is 2 plus 4, 6, equal to 6 is your 30th percentile. Let's formalize this concept. So what you do is you order all your values in a ascending order. Then the number of values plus 1, multiply that by whatever percentile you are looking for. If that value happens to be a good number like 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, your job is done. If you wanted If your value comes out to be third, well, you pick the third number. Voila, you're done. If your value comes out to be 4, pick the fourth number, voila, you're done. But if you have a value other than this, meaning you have a value such that a value has two parts, call it the decimal component and the integer component. So if you have 1.8, this 1 is your integer component I, this 0.8 is your decimal component D. Now you only let's worry about this decimal component for the time being. This integer component is easy, right? You mark that first value, that is your beginning point. To get the decimal component, what you do is this 1.8 is between 1 and 2. That's why you take the difference of second value and the first value. If this was 5.7, you take the gap between fifth value and the sixth value. If the value was 7.7, you take the value between 7th and 8th. If the value was 11.9, you take the gap between 11th and the 12th. Okay? After you have taken this gap between wherever this decimal lies, then that value comes out to be some number. Suppose in our case, it came out to be 5. The gap between the second value and the first value was 5. Now you take that portion of it which is defined by that decimal. The decimal is 80%. 80% of 5 comes out to be 4. So you add this decimal portion and you add this integer portion, you got it. That's the percentile. I'll show you this step by step in Excel, and there's an Excel function that can directly